5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You ever get a little nick? You cut yourself and you don't worry about it, right? You put a Band-Aid on it and you don't even think about it. You take it for granted. Your body's going to heal itself, right? It's going to scab up and then it'll eventually go away and then you'll be back to normal, right? Well, it is kind of an amazing thing to think about, the fact that our bodies can heal themselves. And then you say, well, what about some of the bigger things like cancer? And can your body actually heal cancer all by itself? And I'm not about to tell you that I know the answer to that question, but it does seem like there is evidence that maybe we can at least do something, and maybe, I don't know, fortify our systems, our immune systems. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Christine Horner has been with us before, and she's the lady who wrote the book Waking the Warrior Goddess, and you probably remember her from that. She's on the phone right now to talk to us about prostate health. She is a surgeon, a health expert, and a great guest and an author. Good morning, Christine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Pretty good. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from beautiful San Diego.
San Diego. I met a guy from San Diego this past Saturday. You know why he was here in Florida?
No.
Because he used to be a cowboy.
Yes, he did.
I mean, like we had a theme park here that's since closed, and that was the whole theme of the theme park. It was called Six Gun Territory. Uh-huh. And so I guess he moved out to your area, to San Diego, but wanted to come back for the reunion. So he was here this past weekend. It was kind of cool.
That's different.
Very different, right?
Yeah.
So how have you been? I haven't spoken to you in a while.
I've been doing great, working on another book. So it's a challenge, but a lot of sitting, which is, I'm not a sitter.
You're not a sitter. Do you know what's in the studio right now? There's a lot of donuts.
Oh, that's
among other things.
Among other things, but I bring the donuts up because donuts have a lot of sugar in them, and you don't like sugar at all, do you?
No, because you know what happens is, the more research that's been done on it, they've shown that sugar really is just unbelievably toxic to our system, and has all sorts of terrible physiological changes that occur right after you eat it. But one of the most severe is that it'll knock out your immune system. So there's certain studies that show that after you consume a sugary meal, that your immune system can drop as much as 90% in its function. Yeah, for 5 hours afterwards. So it's a great way to really, kill off your immune system. And then, the other thing is that sugar is cancer's favorite food. So, if you have any kind of cancerous cells in your body, which we actually, form them all the time. I mean, that's a part of our normal physiological, state, is that we form cancer cells all the time. And then our immune system has got all these different cells in it that can recognize those cancer cells and get rid of it. And kind of a, common denominator really with every cancer is that something has to happen to your immune system, where it's not functioning as well. And there's definitely a number of things that we know that are associated with an increased risk of, various different cancers. And that's, like I said, one of the common denominators of how it increases the risk is by causing our immune system to not function like it should. So
I always ask this question when we talk about cancer, because, let's see, not dogs necessarily, but wild animals. Uh-huh. I mean, they never eat sugar.
Right.
So do they ever get cancer? Does a wild animal ever get cancer? Do you know?
I don't know about that one. I mean, I definitely know that domesticated animals, can, but I think in the wild, it would be fairly rare, for that to happen unless they got, into some toxic chemical stuff.
Can I tell you something else? And I may have even said it to you before, Christine, but whenever we've talked about eating healthy and you doing that as a way to avoid cancer, I always think of Linda McCartney, because she died of cancer, and she was like the best advocate for eating healthy, or so I thought.
Right.
Because and correct me if I'm wrong, if she was eating vegetarian, but that did not exclude carbohydrates like breads, etc. She could have. I mean, it's possible that the reason. I don't know, and I'm not expecting you to know either. But I'm just guessing, if we would speak hypothetically without drawing her bringing her name up, that could cause it, right?
Sure. Sure. So, I mean, I don't know her back history from it, too. So it's like I don't know if she was diagnosed with cancer previously and then became a vegetarian, because of it. And there's so many different things, really, that go into, the possibility of developing cancer. And it isn't just your diet. I mean, I do consultations for patients all over the world, actually, with, Skype and telephone consultations. And because, I have a holistic bent, it's very common for people to connect with me that do also, they're seeking me out. And it's not uncommon for people to say to me, hey, I don't understand why I got this. I eat right, I exercise, my weight's down, and, how could this possibly be? And so when I was really exploring the medical research, to find what could lower the risk of breast cancer, that was kind of my area of specialty as a plastic surgeon, doing a lot of breast reconstructive surgery, and noticed my patients getting younger and younger until finally I was doing women in their 20s, and I went, okay,
yeah, right.
something's wrong. So when I was looking, what I found was that prostate cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer are extremely similar tumors, and they're all really affected by diet and lifestyle, and really what increases the risk of one increases the risk of everything. But there's many different things that can contribute to the possibility of developing these cancers, and it's not just the foods that you eat. So, for instance, one of the most important factors we found was that it's the stress of your relationships. So if you are having a toxic relationship, it's the most damaging stress to the human body that's known, and it can out-trump a good diet and a good lifestyle. And it's very common, when I kind of say, okay, if you get diagnosed with cancer, you can see it as an opportunity, really, to do a complete inventory of your life and just go, okay, something was off, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. So, what was it? And just kind of do this complete inventory. And those are the people that oftentimes will say, well, cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. And you'd think, okay, well, why is that? And it's because they took the opportunity, really, to do this complete inventory and go, okay, I hate my job, or I don't like the relationship I'm in, or, something like that. And they make those shifts, and the emotional effects on our bodies are, like I said, way more powerful than our food and our
wow, that's
lifestyle.
pretty deep. That's pretty deep. I would imagine. Okay, if I God forbid, if I come down with cancer and I start blaming the people I have a relationship with,
There you go.
I'm gonna.
You can only blame yourself because you're in those relationships. What I say is it's time to be ruthless, because actually, feeling that you're loved and supported, like that is the most powerful healing effect than anything else, more than diet, more than genetics, more than smoking, is feeling loved and supported. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's your heterosexual relationship. It could be that you're, in a group of people, a book club, a church group, something, where you feel really loved and supported. But that's like the most powerful.
What about needed? How important is it? I'm asking a psychological question, I know, but the reason I'm asking, there was a story in the news this morning, real quickly, about a woman who gave birth, and in the process of giving birth, she developed a blood clot, went into a coma. Doctors did not expect her to live. The baby was healthy. And then somebody, I think one of the nurses, had this idea to bring the baby in, put the baby on the mother's belly, and let her feel the baby.
Right.
So the woman in a coma feels the baby. Well, of course, we assume, because she's in a coma, you don't really know.
Right.
And no reaction. There wasn't much reaction. When the baby started crying, then the mother woke up. And
Wow.
did you see this story?
I didn't see that story.
And I guess that was about a year ago, and now they're back to, she's completely recovered. But it was that moment when she heard it in her subconscious that she was needed. And I thought, wow, that just shows you how important it is to feel needed.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that when you're in a coma, I mean, it's really interesting. A lot of the research showing that what people respond to, like you think that they're not there and they're not hearing stuff, but they are.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. When there's a will. Now, that being said, it still is very important to, look at every aspect, including, your diet and your lifestyle, because all those things, are important too.
Yeah. Christine, we have to take a little break, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Christine Horner on The Source WOC. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit about prostate health, correct?
Sure.
Sounds like. All right, we'll take a break and be right back.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Mix of sun and clouds today with a shower thunderstorm in the afternoon. High of 86 to 88, and it's still a shower thunderstorm in the area tonight. Low 70 to 76. Partly sunny, a thunderstorm or two tomorrow with a high of 86 to 88. Couple thunderstorms in the area Wednesday, along with some sunshine and a high of 84 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. Summer's almost over and fall's just around the corner. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with the Brazilian smoothing treatment. And whether you're going on a job interview or out on a date, your hands do a lot of talking. Manicures are a must. Hello Gorgeous is a full-service salon, so let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala, right next to the historic Marion Theater.
Hello, gorgeous.
All right, 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. Christine Horner is on the phone, and we're talking about our health in general, and prostate health is part of this conversation as well. I was looking at the list in my notes, Christine, and it says that there are significant things you can do to reduce the risk of cancer, and that's spices, and I'll have you fill in the blanks here, vegetables, probiotics, hugs and massages, and laughing. Those are the things. So I can handle the laughing it up. What do you mean by spices? Is salt and pepper, is that good enough?
No.
No.
So different spices. So one of the things that they've found is that spices actually have a concentrated amount of medicines in them. So things like garlic and ginger and even cayenne pepper and definitely turmeric. I mean, that's the number one most studied plant. Have properties in them that have all sorts of different anti-cancer properties to them. So it's a good thing to add spices, to your food and just, view them as medicines.
But you do everything in a fun way, because you always have a word that's like a blank, and then you add it up at the, the two words at the end. So blank it up, and then people can put their own word in there.
That's right. Spice it up. Yeah.
That's right. It makes it more fun than just talking about just the, elements.
Right.
Yeah.
And veg it up. So same thing, vegetables pretty much across the board. You find that vegetables are things that, have not only minerals and vitamins and everything to help it to keep you well, but they also have hundreds of what we call plant chemicals in them, and they don't have any nutritional value or any caloric value, but what they are like natural medicines, and some behave exactly like chemotherapy, and that's because the drug companies will study them, see what their little mechanism of action is for their anti-cancer effects, and then they'll design a drug, based on that, and then they'll tell us that the plants don't work. But they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you say the exact same as chemo, does that include the bad part of chemo? I mean, will it make you...
No, without the terrible side effects. No, without the terrible side effects. So, for instance, mushrooms, our medicinal mushrooms, there's actually hundreds of different species of them, but they've been, really well studied, and they found that they have just phenomenal effects at helping to support your immune system, which we were talking about as kind of the common denominator. And so, one simple thing that you can do now, of course, in all practicality, are you going to be eating therapeutic doses of medicinal mushrooms every day? No. So
I love mushrooms.
Yeah, but you're not going to eat them every day, even if you love them. So, that's where it becomes really important to take a supplement, to get the medicines of it in. And, for instance, one of my supplements that I really have a lot of respect for is one that's out of Japan called AHCC. And AHCC stands for Active Hexose Correlated Compound, which is why we call it AHCC. But it's made from a blend of different medicinal mushrooms, and the way they process it makes it so you can absorb it into your system, and they call it more bioavailable. But they've done hundreds of studies on it and shows that it supports every single cell type in the immune system. And it does it so effectively that it reduces the risk of not only prostate cancer, but also breast cancer, melanomas, pancreatic cancers. And they actually prescribe AHCC in the hospitals in Japan to cancer patients because the survival statistics are so much better.
Can I ask you something, Christine? Is it true that if you don't use it, you could get cancer in it?
If you don't use it? What do you mean?
You know how...
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard
the
this?
other brain.
Have you heard this? Yeah. Have you...
They have found that men who use it on a regular basis, like 3 times a week, have a lower incidence of prostate cancer.
So that's what I'm asking. So
Yeah.
All right. So how does that apply to breast cancer? I mean, you can't be using them. I mean,
Well, yeah,
right.
you can.
you use
Well,
them?
it's kind of like, okay, men have one way, and women, when in our intimacy, what we want is emotional stuff, right?
That's right.
So do we. We want this too.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of the feel it up
Feel it up.
portion of the, getting hugs, getting massages. I mean, those are things that have been shown to really decrease stress hormones,
Touchy-feely.
increase your immune system. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have to use it, otherwise we get cancer in it.
Well, it could be used.
You talk about
Eating
laughter and a good humor.
I just killed some cancer cells.
Yeah,
You absolutely did. You caused your immune system to be stimulated. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of research, that they used in relationship to cancer patients about what happens when you laugh, and that, it's something that strengthens your immune system and decreases your stress hormones. So, we have stress is one huge thing that's a contributor, they say, to like 90% of all chronic diseases, mental and physical. And the high cortisol levels is the main issue we have, where they just kind of stay high because every day we're having one stress, after another, so it keeps them high. And cortisol will suppress your immune system. So it's really important to kind of counteract the.
Going back to the sugars, I got a sugar question.
Sure.
When I have when I eat an orange or an apple, I'm always you're supposed to think that's going to be very healthy, but they have sugars in them too. Is it the same problem, or is it a different?
No, it's not. So whenever you have like fruits that have fiber in them, it metabolizes completely differently in your body. So it binds and slows down the absorption of them, so you don't get these big spikes in your blood glucose levels like you do if you're eating sugar or refined carbohydrates. Now, if you do juices, like fruit juices, particularly the store-bought ones, that's a problem because then it doesn't have the fiber in it, and then it causes spikes in your blood sugar levels, to occur. So eating fruit, though, is completely different and does not cause that and doesn't have the ill effects. And in fact, quite the opposite, where it's got all sorts of different kinds of, wonderful plant chemicals and antioxidants and anti-inflammatories and anti-cancer properties to them.
Are all of the nutritional connections to cancer preventive, or do any of them actually reverse cancer?
No, they absolutely can reverse cancer. So, the way that we look at it is that, we've kind of changed our thinking, but, cancer is more like a chronic disease, and it develops out of imbalances usually in diet and lifestyle. So when you correct those imbalances, which is, all the things we're talking about that are preventative, it helps to reverse, the process of that cancer and helps to shrink it. So, for instance, there's just wild research done on certain things like the turmeric or flax seeds, for instance, in relationship to breast cancer. There's a researcher up in Canada, Lillian Thompson, at the University of Toronto, who tested flax seeds, which we know have huge anti-cancer properties to them, with women who had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And then about 3 weeks later, they had their tumors taken out. So she put them on 3 to 4 tablespoons of flax seeds. That's it, right, between the time that they were diagnosed and when they had their surgery. And in every single woman, in 3 weeks, their tumors had shrunk. So this is like 20 years ago. I read this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this was the first patient I had. My business manager's mother developed breast cancer, so I put her on ground flax seeds and another kind of powerful antioxidant. 3 weeks later, we take her tumor out, and it had shrunk by 2/3.
Oh, wow.
So could you, is it possible that you might not have even needed to do the surgery, that the thing would have gone away?
That's a tough one, because actually, what it shows is that you can actually shrink the tumors down, but it's really rare for them to go away with alternative alone, and I always caution, against that, because what the research shows is that, we always have these cells that kind of shed off, the tumors, and they're living in other areas of our body, so you want to use natural techniques after you've had the Western medicine treatments really to support that. And so when you combine the two techniques, rather than doing one without the other, there's a 3 times better outcome.
Now, Now, men, we're told, can get breast cancer too. You've told us about that previously. How about people like Caitlyn Jenner, where they keep their male parts and then they have all that estrogen and stuff to make breasts?
Right.
Are they more susceptible to having that kind of cancer? Breast cancer?
It's a relatively rare thing. I mean, we have to take like huge populations and study them for 20 years to see the effects when it comes to like breast cancer, prostate cancer, and so forth.
Uh-huh.
So we really haven't had huge populations that we can study, prospectively for 20 years now. So in theory, you'd think so, because anytime you start kind of messing with hormonal balances, and this is something we saw with hormone replacement therapy in women, is, it's a dangerous thing, because we weren't designed for that, and so it's very common to have a significant increase in all sorts of different kinds of cancers, when you do that. So, it's possible.
We are just about out of time, Christine. Let's make sure we give the listeners some information so they can look you up. And don't forget the book, Waking the Warrior Goddess, Christine Horner. What is your website? Is it drchristinehorner.com?
It is. It's DR, no punctuation, CHRISTINEHORNER.com. Yeah, and you can get an autographed copy on my website. And like I said, I do consultations for newly diagnosed breast cancer patients to help them with an integrative approach, because that's our best, results with that. So that's all on my website, plus a free newsletter.
All right. Can some of the things that help us with cancer help our pets as well? Just to go back to the animals real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certain things could. It's kind of tricky, though, because animals aren't exactly the same as us, and so certain things that, are healthy for us aren't healthy for them. So, like garlic is actually very toxic to animals.
Oh, my goodness.
You should never, garlic, onions, you should never give it to your cat or your dog. So it's a lot trickier with that, but, definitely avoiding toxins, eating more, organic types of foods are a good thing, exercise. I mean, there's certain things like that. But
those are good things, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. And hugs. How about petting and hugs?
How about hugs? Well, you're beautiful. I'll give you a hug. Look at that picture of her.
I know, she's gorgeous.
Christine, Dr. Christine, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. Come back. Don't be a stranger. You've took too long between visits.
Okay, thank you.
drchristinehorner.com. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis back at work. She spent most of last week in jail for refusing to issue marriage licenses to gay couples.
I'm just a person who's been transformed by the grace of God and who wants to work, be with my family. I just want to serve my neighbors quietly without violating my conscience.
Davis says she won't keep deputy clerks from issuing the licenses, but she won't do it. Kentucky police say the suspect in the killing of a state trooper was fatally shot when he refused to surrender.
Investigators say Trooper Joseph Cameron Ponder was conducting a traffic stop on I-24 in western Kentucky. It led to a high-speed chase that ended with Johnson Shanks, who's black, apparently stopping abruptly, getting out of his car and opening fire.
Fox Radio's Jeff Manazzo. Authorities say real estate in the Swiss Alps has been seized in the money laundering case involving FIFA, the World Soccer Organization. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Meet Vince. Vince hurt himself mountain biking on Saturday.
Because weekend warrior.
Because noob.
Hey!
Vince is supposed to host an important presentation, but he's not going anywhere in that cast. What should he do?
Rhetorical question.
Vince should try GoToMeeting, the simple way to host meetings online, complete with video conferencing and screen sharing. Send out a meeting link and anyone can join from any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Just takes a click.
Where do I sign up?
Visit GoToMeeting.com to start your free 30-day trial. That's GoToMeeting.com.
Right now at the Home Depot, save 20% when you buy one or more pallets of in-stock GAF shingles. So let's raise the roof and lower the cost with bulk pricing on top-of-the-line GAF shingles, including Timberline, America's favorite shingle. This is worth shouting from the rooftops. Let's do this. Save 20% on one or more pallets of in-stock GAF shingles at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through September 30th, U.S. only. See store for details.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Here's great news for fall from Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. Just arrived the huge new selection of big, super large fall mums, and they're priced right. Colors, take your pick from red, yellow, pink, white, bronze, orange, and many others. These beauties are regularly $14.99 each, but they're yours for just $9.99 when you buy two or more. This week, Bob Wines has a huge selection of citrus trees. Mix them or match them. You buy one, you get one free. And don't forget the big BOGO on trees. Take your pick. Any tree in stock, and he's got hundreds. You buy one, and you get a second for half price, with prices starting as low as $49.95 for a big 8-foot tree. Got a landscaping job? Check with Bob. He'll do it large or small, far more beautifully for a lot less money and on time. Come by and see just what's in store for you this fall at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Daily till 3, Saturdays till 2. See you there.
Here are today's headlines from the source WOCA. A Palm Beach State College student was killed and 5 other people were injured in a shooting at an Ocala bar early yesterday morning. It happened around 1:30 a.m. at the Cloud 9 Club located at 1910 South Pine Avenue. Marion County Sheriff's Office deputies and Ocala Police Department officers responded to the scene and found 6 people with gunshot injuries in the parking lot of the club. Deputies said a female victim, identified as 19-year-old Benitria Robinson, was pronounced dead at the scene. The other 5 people were transported to local hospitals. 3 of the victims are in serious but stable condition, and 2 suffered non-life-threatening injuries, according to deputies. Robinson's cousin, Sheena Shiley, said Benitria was home for a weekend visit from Palm Beach State College, where she was playing basketball. She graduated from Forest High School here in Ocala. Marion County and Ocala detectives are conducting a joint investigation and are looking for witnesses. Any Anyone with information is asked to call the Marion County Crime Stoppers line at 352-368-STOP. The Florida Highway Patrol is reporting that a 19-year-old man died yesterday afternoon from injuries sustained in a single-vehicle accident on Southeast 108 Terrace Road. The report says the man was driving at approximately 1:25 p.m. when, for unknown reasons, his car veered off the roadway and struck a utility pole, breaking the pole just north of County Road 25. The crash victim's name was not in the report. Florida Highway Patrol is conducting an investigation. Groups that sued the state legislature over gerrymandering of Florida's congressional districts have until today to submit their own plans to redraw the lines. The legislature wanted to cut them off at the end of the day Friday, but attorney John Devaney said they needed more time. It will be up to Circuit Judge Terry Lewis to sort through those new reapportionment plans and figure out which one does the best job of meeting the standards in the state constitution. The legislature has already tried twice and failed. The Brevard County Sheriff's Office says 2 of its deputies were customers of a local prostitute who was arrested in a sting operation that left another deputy critically injured. Sheriff Wayne Ivey announced that both deputies have been fired, calling their actions criminal and disgusting. One of the deputies is 59 years old and had been with the Sheriff's Office for 14 years. The other is 29 years old and had served for 22 months. Their names are being withheld as an investigation continues. Sheriff Ivey said the deputies were customers of a 42-year-old Mary Ellen DeRosset, whom deputies attempted to arrest at a home in Port St. John on August 20th on prostitution charges. DeRosset's uncle, 65-year-old John Franklin DeRosset, allegedly started shooting at the deputies, wounding Deputy Casey Smith, who remains hospitalized. The sheriff said that the investigation of the shooting led to the discovery of texts, phone records, and ledgers, which in turn implicated the dismissed deputies as customers. The founder and CEO of Amazon.com will visit Cape Canaveral this week to make what he calls a significant announcement regarding the commercial space industry. The plan, to be unveiled by Jeff Bezos tomorrow morning, is expected to involve his private space firm called Blue Origin building rockets in Brevard County. Those rockets would be used to launch humans into orbit from Cape Canaveral's Launch Complex 36. Test flights could start within a few years. According to Florida Today, Blue Origin's presence on the Space Coast is expected to bring 330 high-paying jobs and pump more than $200 million into local launch and manufacturing facilities. Up to now, the Blue Origin plan for Brevard County has been known by the codename Project Panther. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Mix of sun and clouds today with a shower thunderstorm in the afternoon. High of 86 to 88, and it's still a shower thunderstorm in the area tonight. Low 70 to 76. Partly sunny, a thunderstorm or two tomorrow with a high of 86 to 88. Couple thunderstorms in the area Wednesday, along with some sunshine and a high of 84 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.